Hello, esteemed gentlemen. He never flirts, he just exists, and somehow that's enough to make everyone wonder what it would take to make him care. It's strange, isn't it? In a world where men rehearse pickup lines and measure confidence in emojis, the Sigma male does none of that. And yet, people can't stop thinking about him. He doesn't chase, he doesn't charm, he doesn't even try. And that's precisely why it works. Psychologists say that unpredictability is one of the most powerful triggers of attraction. It activates the same part of the brain linked to craving and addiction. So when the Sigma male gives off zero clues about what he wants, the human mind goes into overdrive, trying to decode him. He doesn't flirt to win attention. He forces curiosity to do the work for him. It's like watching someone read a book with the cover torn off. You don't know the title, but now you have to know what's inside. While other men flirt like salesmen pitching themselves, the Sigma flirts like gravity. He doesn't move toward anyone, he just pulls them in. And today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind it. The 20 brutal reasons Sigma males don't flirt like other men, and why somehow that quiet, unbothered approach keeps everyone else doing the flirting for them. Number 1. He makes people feel seen, not desired. He makes people feel seen, not desired. And that's where his quiet power lies. Most men flirt by making someone feel wanted, but the Sigma male operates on a different level entirely. When he talks to you, he's not trying to make you blush. He's trying to understand the pattern beneath your words. There's no desperate undertone, no sense of trying to prove his worth. His focus is real, deliberate, and unsettling in the best way. You don't feel like he's looking at you. You feel like he's looking into you. That difference changes everything. Desire is temporary. Being seen is unforgettable. Compliments fade the moment someone else gives you one, but the memory of being truly understood lingers. The Sigma male doesn't feed your ego. He feeds your awareness. He listens, not to respond, but to notice. The way you emphasize certain words, how your eyes shift when you're hiding something, the tone that betrays what you won't admit. He catches it all without making it obvious. That kind of attention is magnetic because it's rare. People spend most of their lives performing, waiting for someone to see the truth behind their act. When a Sigma male offers that, without judgment, without trying to turn it into a flirtation, it hits deeper than any compliment ever could. It's not about attraction in the romantic sense. It's about recognition, and recognition feels sacred in a world full of noise. This is why people often mistake his calm focus for seduction. But it isn't flirtation. It's connection without agenda. His eyes don't scan for opportunity. They study for understanding. That makes others feel exposed yet oddly safe, because they sense that he gets them in ways others don't. Once that happens, something flips internally. The craving to be understood becomes a craving for him. And he knows this, not consciously in a manipulative way, but intuitively. He's aware that being the one who truly sees is more powerful than being the one who's always seen. So he never rushes, never performs, never over-explains. His quiet awareness speaks louder than any romantic line ever could. While others chase attention, the Sigma male gives something rarer, undivided presence. And in a world starving for genuine connection, that's the ultimate seduction. Number 2, doesn't flirt. He awakens curiosity. He doesn't flirt, he awakens curiosity. That's the quiet magic of a Sigma male. Most men try to grab attention with words, charm, or grand gestures. The Sigma does the opposite. He lets the silence do the talking. He knows that mystery isn't something you create. It's something you allow. When you don't rush to explain yourself, when you don't reveal every thought or intention, people naturally start to wonder. And curiosity, once sparked, is a form of attraction that no amount of effort can fake. The Sigma male understands this instinctively. He doesn't flirt because he doesn't need to. His calm detachment, his unreadable expressions, the way he measures his words, it all creates mental tension. People can't quite figure him out, and that unsettles them in a strangely addictive way. They replay his sentences in their heads, trying to decode hidden meanings that may or may not exist. That mental loop becomes obsession. It's not what he says that hooks them, it's what he doesn't say. What makes it powerful is that it's real. He's not pretending to be mysterious. He genuinely doesn't feel the need to explain himself. That kind of authenticity is magnetic in a world full of people oversharing to feel seen. His presence doesn't scream, it whispers, and the whisper always travels farther. It forces others to lean in, to look closer, to think harder. He never asks for attention, yet somehow he becomes the center of it. Curiosity is also emotional movement. It pulls people toward you without them realizing it. When someone can't easily label or predict you, their mind stays engaged. The Sigma male knows that once curiosity takes root, desire follows naturally. He doesn't chase that sequence, he simply lets it happen. That's why his interactions linger long after he's gone. He leaves people thinking, questioning, feeling, even when he's not there to push any of it. He's the conversation that never fully ends, the one you revisit in your mind, wondering what he meant, what he felt, or if he felt anything at all. That's not an accident. It's the quiet art of a man who knows that real attraction isn't built on effort. It's built on intrigue, and in the end, that intrigue becomes irresistible. Number 3. He doesn't use humor. He uses truth. He doesn't use humor. He uses truth. While most men lean on jokes to appear charming or confident, the Sigma male understands that humor often masks insecurity. He doesn't need to hide behind laughter because he's comfortable with silence, tension, and raw honesty. When he speaks, he says what others are too afraid to admit, and that catches people off guard. It's not rehearsed, it's not polished, it's real. And in a world full of filters, exaggerations, and polite lies, realness feels almost revolutionary. His words land differently because they don't chase approval. When others use humor, they're fishing for reactions, a smile, a laugh, a sign that they're liked. But the Sigma male doesn't play that game. He doesn't seek to be liked. He seeks to be understood. And when he speaks truth, it stirs something deeper than amusement. It provokes thought. His honesty can be blunt, sometimes even uncomfortable, but it's the kind of discomfort that sticks with you long after the conversation ends. There's something magnetic about that. People don't expect to be disarmed by sincerity. They expect smooth talk, teasing, charm, but the Sigma's directness feels refreshing because it bypasses all of that. When he says something that cuts through pretense, maybe a quiet observation that no one else dared to voice, it feels like he's exposing a truth everyone secretly sensed, but never articulated. That kind of moment doesn't make people laugh. It makes them feel seen. The irony is that his truth often does what humor tries to do. It connects people. Except instead of laughing together, they feel something together. His words don't entertain, they echo. He knows that humor fades quickly, but truth leaves residue. It lingers in the mind, replaying itself in quiet moments. That's why his conversations are rarely forgotten. They may not end in giggles, but they often end in reflection, curiosity, or even a quiet fascination with how someone so composed could see things so clearly. So while others rely on humor to distract from their uncertainty, the Sigma male uses truth to expose it, in himself, in others, and in the world around him. And in that brutal honesty, he becomes unforgettable, not because he made you laugh, but because he made you feel something real. Number 4, he doesn't enter the game, he changes it. He doesn't enter the game, he changes it. Most men approach attraction like a contest, constantly trying to prove they're interesting, confident, or desirable enough to win attention. The Sigma male doesn't play by those rules. He knows the moment you start competing for attention, you've already lost your power. So instead of stepping into that noisy arena, he steps out of it. And that move alone rewrites the entire social dynamic. Suddenly, he's not one of the players. He's the standard everyone else measures themselves against. This shift is subtle but powerful. When someone doesn't seem affected by the race for validation, it forces others to question why. Why isn't he trying? What does he know that the rest don't? That quiet refusal to compete creates psychological gravity. People start chasing his calm just to understand it. His indifference makes others feel their own neediness more clearly, and in that mirror, they start valuing his presence even more. He changes the game because he doesn't depend on it. While most people derive worth from being noticed, he's fueled by internal validation. He doesn't need to be liked, approved of, or chosen, and that lack of need is precisely what makes him so rare and magnetic. People can feel when someone is not performing for them. It's unsettling and captivating at the same time. They start adjusting their behavior to get his attention. Without saying a word, he flips the power dynamic entirely. This doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from understanding that attention is a currency, and the one who values it least usually holds the most control. The Sigma male's refusal to play by social scripts is his quiet rebellion against the superficial. He doesn't chase validation, he invites authenticity, and that changes how people interact with him. They drop their rehearsed charm, their inflated confidence, and start showing their real selves just to keep his interest. By stepping out of the game, he exposes how shallow it really is. Everyone else is busy performing while he just exists, unbothered, self-contained, and effortlessly intriguing. He doesn't need to prove his worth because he already knows it, and that's what makes the Sigma male not just different, but untouchable. Number 5. His presence feels private, even in public. His presence feels private, even in public. When the Sigma male speaks to you, it's as if the world temporarily dims. The chatter, the distractions, the background noise, they all fade into irrelevance. He has this rare ability to make you feel like the only person in the room without trying to. It's not performance, it's presence. He gives his full attention in a way most people have forgotten how to. No phone, no wandering eyes, no restless gestures. Just quiet, focused awareness. And that kind of attention feels like luxury in a world addicted to divided focus. What makes it so powerful is how rare it is. Most people don't listen to understand, they listen to reply. But the Sigma male listens to absorb. His stillness is intentional. His eyes don't dart around looking for validation. They stay fixed, grounded, calm. That calm transfers to you, creating a subtle intimacy that doesn't need touch or words to exist. It's the kind of moment that feels like a secret, even when nothing secret is said. That's what makes it seductive. It's quiet, but it's charged. People are drawn to him not because he overwhelms them with attention, but because he simplifies the moment. He removes everything unnecessary, no fake enthusiasm, no exaggerated charm, no social filler, just presence. That purity of focus makes the other person feel significant. And significance, not compliments, is what people truly crave. Compliments flatter the ego, but presence touches the soul. When he engages, the conversation slows down. The energy changes. It's as if he builds an invisible bubble around the moment, and inside it, everything feels more meaningful. People leave those interactions feeling lighter, more understood, but also slightly haunted, wondering why that brief encounter felt so intimate. The truth is, he doesn't do it on purpose. His nature is simply anchored in awareness, and awareness always creates connection. That's why his presence lingers. Even after he walks away, people replay the way he looked at them, how calm he was, how the rest of the world seemed to blur out for a second. It's addictive, not because he tried to charm anyone, but because he gave something few people ever receive anymore: undivided attention. In a noisy world, that silence feels like desire. Number 6. He doesn't flirt to impress. He flirts to understand. He doesn't flirt to impress, he flirts to understand. While most men use flirtation as a stage to showcase confidence, looks, or charm, the Sigma male treats it like a window into truth. He's not trying to make someone like him. He's trying to see who they really are beneath the layers they show the world. Every word, glance, and pause isn't a move. It's an observation. He's not asking, "Do you find me attractive?" He's asking, "Can you drop the act for a second and be real?" And that subtle shift changes the entire energy of the interaction. The Sigma male's curiosity isn't shallow. He's not scanning for weaknesses or flirting to collect attention. He's studying authenticity. He notices how someone reacts when the spotlight isn't on them, how their energy changes when things get quiet, or how their tone shifts when they talk about what they love. He's drawn to what's genuine, not what's polished. That's why his flirtation feels different. It's not flattery, it's focus. Because he's not trying to perform, the dynamic feels raw and unpredictable. There's no rehearsed charm, no social rhythm to fall back on. He lets silence stretch, lets the other person fill it, and in that space, truth starts to leak out. People find themselves revealing more than they planned to, not because he pressured them, but because his calm curiosity feels safe. He creates emotional depth without asking for it directly. And that depth is intoxicating. When he flirts, it doesn't feel like flirting. It feels like connection. There's an intensity to his presence that makes even small talk feel like a confession. Most people aren't used to that level of sincerity in an interaction, so they mistake it for chemistry. But what they're really responding to is being understood without judgment. The Sigma doesn't care about showing off. He cares about seeing the real person behind the mask. That's what makes his approach unforgettable. Because when someone sees you without trying to impress you, it feels disarmingly personal. It bypasses attraction and goes straight to recognition. And that's why, long after the conversation ends, people find themselves thinking about him. Not because he made them laugh or blush, but because for a brief moment they felt seen. Number 7. He keeps desire asymmetrical. He keeps desire asymmetrical. The Sigma male understands a truth most people miss. The moment both sides show equal interest, the spark starts to fade. He doesn't play games, but he's aware of how the human mind works. People crave balance, especially in emotional dynamics. When he shows only potential interest, it triggers a subtle psychological tension. The other person starts chasing clarity, trying to figure out where they stand with him. That chase feels like attraction, but it's really the mind trying to solve an emotional puzzle. He never reveals exactly how much he cares, only that he might. His words are measured, his tone steady, his reactions restrained. That composure forces others to read between the lines, to interpret small cues as signs of interest. A half smile, a glance that lingers for half a second too long, a pause before he replies. Those tiny moments become magnified because he offers so few of them. And the mystery of not knowing becomes irresistible. This doesn't mean he's manipulative. It's just that he refuses to hand over his emotional cards too early. While most men rush to prove they're interested, the Sigma holds back, not out of arrogance, but self-respect. He values emotional control more than instant gratification. By not feeding every impulse or revealing every thought, He stays in charge of his energy. And that self-restraint makes others want his attention even more because it feels earned. The imbalance he creates isn't about power, it's about curiosity. When someone doesn't fully reveal how they feel, the mind starts filling in the blanks. That's what keeps the connection alive even in silence. People start imagining what it would be like if he did open up, if he did let his guard down, if he finally showed affection. That imagination fuels their desire far more than words ever could. What makes it brilliant is that it's not a tactic, it's his nature. The Sigma male doesn't rush emotional disclosure because he values depth over drama. He lets attraction unfold slowly, naturally, with tension intact. And that's why people find themselves thinking about him long after he's gone, because he never gave them full closure. He gave them curiosity, and curiosity is the most addictive form of desire there is. Number 8, he uses tension as a language. He uses tension as a language. The Sigma male understands something most people overlook. Silence can speak louder than words. He knows that what's left unsaid often carries more power than what's openly expressed. In a world obsessed with constant talking, explaining, and oversharing, he weaponizes restraint. He doesn't rush to fill pauses or explain what he meant. He lets the moment breathe. That small space of uncertainty becomes charged, magnetic, almost electric. The other person starts to lean in, both literally and emotionally, just to close that gap. He's fluent in micro moments, the half-finished thought, the glance that lingers a second too long, the subtle shift in tone before a sentence trails off. These moments make people feel something without understanding why. They start overanalyzing his pauses, searching for meaning where he leaves none, because tension makes the mind crave resolution, and that craving feels a lot like attraction. While most men rush to make their intentions clear, the Sigma leaves room for mystery. Not because he's playing hard to get, but because he knows that certainty kills excitement. When everything is obvious, there's nothing left to imagine. The Sigma understands that human connection thrives on emotional suspense, the sweet discomfort of not knowing what comes next. He turns that uncertainty into art. Every move he makes feels intentional, even when it isn't. The way he holds eye contact just long enough to stir emotion, then looks away before it becomes predictable, it creates rhythm. That rhythm builds anticipation, and anticipation is the purest form of chemistry. People don't fall for him because he's expressive. They fall because he leaves space for their minds to wander. He gives them just enough to feel, but not enough to conclude. The brilliance of his approach is that it feels natural. He's not acting mysterious. He is comfortable with silence. That comfort unnerves people because most can't sit in tension without trying to break it. But he thrives there. For him, tension isn't awkward. It's communication. It's how he says everything without saying much at all. And by the time someone realizes what happened, they're already hooked, not by his words, but by the space between them. Number 9, he doesn't flirt. He observes reactions. He doesn't flirt, he observes reactions. While most men treat flirting like a performance, the Sigma male treats it like research. He's not there to entertain or to prove himself. He's there to see. Every word, every shift in tone, every flicker of expression. He notices it all. Where others are busy trying to say the right thing, he's quietly decoding what's real and what's rehearsed. He's not seeking validation. He's studying authenticity. His calm detachment lets him see things that others miss, and that makes him incredibly difficult to fool. He pays attention to the unspoken, the quick eye dart, the nervous laugh, the subtle hesitation before a reply. Those tiny details tell him everything he needs to know about someone's intentions. Most people reveal more in what they don't say than in what they do, and the Sigma has learned to read between the lines better than anyone. That's why he rarely flirts in the traditional sense. He doesn't need to. His presence alone draws out people's truest reactions. This approach flips the script completely. While others are busy trying to be liked, he's quietly deciding if you're worth his attention. That reversal of focus shifts the power dynamic without him ever saying a word. People sense they're being seen, maybe even studied, and that awareness pulls them in. They start overanalyzing themselves, wanting to seem composed, interesting, confident, and that effort becomes its own kind of attraction. The Sigma doesn't chase connection. He lets others reveal whether it's worth pursuing. What makes this so effective is that it's not manipulation. It's clarity. He values truth more than attention, so he doesn't waste time on fake chemistry or forced charm. When someone's interest is genuine, he knows instantly. When it's performative, he knows that too. And because he doesn't broadcast his reactions, people can't tell which one they are, which only deepens the tension. In the end, his observation is the flirtation. People feel both seen and slightly exposed around him, unsure of what he's thinking but desperate to know. That quiet mystery isn't an act. It's his natural state. He doesn't try to impress. He lets truth do the work. And in a world full of performers, that level of awareness is the most seductive thing of all. Number 10. His calm is more provocative than charm. His calm is more provocative than charm. Most men try to build tension by filling space, with jokes, compliments, or physical gestures. But the Sigma male does the opposite. He uses stillness as his weapon. There's something deeply disarming about a man who doesn't feel the need to perform, prove, or rush. His calm carries weight. It pulls attention without demanding it. When he enters a room or a conversation, his energy doesn't compete. It anchors. And in that quiet steadiness, people start to feel something they can't quite explain. Flirtation, at its core, is about emotional tension, the gap between what's said and what's felt. Most people try to manufacture that tension through words or touch, but the Sigma lets silence do it for him. He knows that stillness amplifies presence. The absence of unnecessary movement or chatter draws focus to every small detail. The tone of his voice, the pause before he speaks, the way his eyes stay steady while everyone else looks away. That restraint creates an invisible pressure, and in that pressure, attraction starts to grow. His calmness signals something primal, control. In a world full of restless energy and constant noise, someone who can stay composed under social tension triggers both curiosity and admiration. People wonder why he's so unbothered. What gives him that quiet confidence? The more they think about it, the deeper they're pulled into his gravity. Without saying a word, he becomes the center of emotional focus. What makes it truly powerful is that his calm doesn't come from indifference. It comes from self-mastery. He's not detached because he doesn't care. He's grounded because he knows who he is. That kind of inner stability creates an aura that feels both safe and dangerous at the same time. Safe because it's steady, dangerous because it can't be shaken. The silence around him doesn't feel empty. It feels alive. It makes people lean closer, talk more, reveal more, just to fill the quiet he leaves behind. And that's the secret. While others chase attention with noise, he lets the quiet pull it in for him. His calm doesn't compete with charm. It surpasses it. Because charm tries to attract, but calmness commands attention without even trying. Number 11. He speaks with weighted intent. He speaks with weighted intent. Every word that leaves his mouth feels deliberate because it is. The Sigma male doesn't waste language. He doesn't talk to fill silence or to sound impressive. He speaks when there's meaning behind what he says. That's why his words hit differently. They linger, they echo, they make people pause and think, sometimes long after the conversation is over. He understands that communication isn't about volume, it's about precision. When he speaks, it's not noise, it's signal. His tone, pacing, and pauses do more work than most people's entire monologues. He knows timing is everything, that saying something at the right moment can shift the energy of an entire interaction. When he slows down, lowers his voice, or takes a breath before answering, it creates anticipation. People start leaning in, not just to hear what he'll say, but to feel what he means. He uses silence as punctuation, each pause carrying its own quiet gravity. What makes this so powerful is that it doesn't feel calculated. He's not trying to manipulate, he's just fully present. He means what he says, and that alone separates him from most people who talk just to be liked or to fill awkward moments. His speech carries weight because it's anchored in authenticity. Even a simple sentence sounds intentional coming from him because he doesn't dilute his message with filler words or unnecessary emotion. This creates a kind of tension that's more psychological than physical. When he speaks, people sense subtext, even if none was intended. They feel there's more beneath the surface. That's the power of restraint. His words invite curiosity, forcing others to read between the lines, to guess what he's thinking. And in that guessing, attraction quietly builds. The Sigma male's communication style mirrors his personality, calm, deliberate, and layered. He'd rather say one sentence that shifts the atmosphere than 50 that do nothing. His control over language mirrors his control over himself. That's why his voice feels like it carries truth, even when he's being playful. He doesn't need to speak often to make an impact. He only needs to speak intentionally. And in a world addicted to empty words, that kind of depth feels irresistible. Number 12. He doesn't chase chemistry. He triggers it. He doesn't chase chemistry. He triggers it. The Sigma male understands that real connection isn't something you can manufacture. It's something you awaken. While most men chase chemistry through charm or effort, he lets it unfold naturally by embodying a mix of calm confidence and quiet unpredictability. He's grounded, yet impossible to read, stable enough to feel safe, mysterious enough to feel dangerous. That contrast sparks emotional tension, and tension is the birthplace of chemistry. He knows people are drawn to what they can't fully understand. The moment someone becomes predictable, the spark starts to fade. But with the Sigma, there's always more beneath the surface, something just out of reach. His emotions are subtle, layered, and never obvious. One moment, he's deeply engaged. The next, he's detached and observing. That rhythm keeps people off balance in the most intoxicating way. It's not manipulation, it's presence. His energy is so contained that others can't help but project their curiosity onto him. When he connects with someone, he doesn't push the interaction forward. He lets it breathe. His pauses, his glances, the unspoken things between his words, all of it works together to build a quiet charge. People start feeling that pull without being able to explain it. They want to know more, to peel back the layers, to figure him out. But the Sigma male never gives full access. He leaves emotional breadcrumbs, just enough to keep curiosity alive, never enough to make it fade into certainty. That's why his chemistry feels so intense. It's not about words, compliments, or tactics. It's about energy control. He doesn't project desire outward. He pulls attention inward. His restraint becomes fascination, and his unpredictability becomes allure. The less he reveals, the more people feel. They start imagining, wondering, and filling in the blanks themselves, and that imagination is where attraction multiplies. He triggers chemistry because he understands something few do. People fall for mystery, not perfection. When you can't predict someone's next move, your mind stays hooked. The Sigma doesn't chase that feeling. He creates the conditions for it to happen. By staying grounded, unreadable, and effortlessly self-contained, he becomes the unanswered question people can't stop thinking about. The kind of chemistry that burns slow but never dies out. At the end of the day, the Sigma male's way of flirting isn't about tactics, smooth lines, or manufactured charm. It's about energy. It's about the quiet confidence that doesn't need to prove anything. He doesn't perform to attract attention. He becomes the kind of man who naturally draws it. While others chase validation, he moves in silence, observing, understanding, and revealing just enough to make the other person feel like they've stumbled onto something rare. What makes him so magnetic is that he doesn't follow the social script everyone else does. He doesn't flirt to win approval or to get something. He flirts to connect, to see who's genuine beneath the surface. His presence feels private, even in public. His words feel heavier than they should, and his silence carries more electricity than most people's best lines. Every interaction with him feels slightly unpredictable, a blend of calm, curiosity, and tension that keeps others wondering if they've been chosen or simply tested. He understands that attraction is psychological, not performative. Real chemistry isn't built through constant effort. It's built through emotional awareness, mystery, and control. By refusing to chase, he flips the script entirely. He becomes the gravity others orbit around, the emotional puzzle they can't quite solve. And in that quiet, deliberate restraint lies his power. Because in a world where everyone's trying to be seen, the Sigma male stands out by not trying at all. His strength lies in stillness. His depth lies in his silence. And his magnetism comes from the unshakable sense that he doesn't need anyone to validate his worth. He already knows it. That's why when he speaks, people listen. When he walks away, they keep thinking about him. And when he connects, it's never forgotten. So if you've made it this far, it means you see the difference. The kind of energy that doesn't chase attention, but commands it effortlessly. If you found value in this breakdown of how Sigma males truly operate beneath the surface, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and drop a comment below sharing which part resonated most with you. And don't forget to share this video with someone who needs to see what real confidence, quiet, intelligent, and unforced, actually looks like.